They told you poor vision is genetic or just part of getting older, but that's not the whole truth. In reality, most people are silently damaging their eyesight every single day without realizing it. If your eyes feel tired, blurry, or weaker than they used to be, these three simple habits might change everything. Stay until the end, because the final hack is the one that's been quietly restoring vision in people over 50 without surgery, glasses, or pills. Sunlight ritual. There is a story often told, a narrative whispered from one generation to the next, that the clarity of our vision, much like the strength of our limbs or the unlined smoothness of our skin, is destined to yield to the relentless march of time. We are led to believe, and many come to accept, that failing eyesight is an immutable consequence of our genetic inheritance, a predetermined script written into our very cells, or simply an unavoidable toll extracted by the mere accumulation of years. This belief, while carrying fragments of observable truth, for indeed the body undergoes transformations, does not illuminate the entire landscape of our visual experience. It often casts a long shadow over a more empowering understanding that for a vast number of us, the vibrancy of our sight is being silently, unknowingly diminished not by fate alone, but by the very patterns of our daily existence, by habits so ingrained they have become invisible to us. If your eyes now carry a weariness they once did not, if the world before you seems to swim in a persistent subtle blur, or if you perceive a weakening in that innate power of seeing that once painted your reality with such crispness and vitality, I invite you to consider that this need not be an irreversible decline. There exist simple, almost elemental shifts in our way of living, profound in their understated efficacy, that hold the potential to alter this trajectory, to reawaken the inherent capacity of your eyes. Journey with me, if you will, as we explore these pathways. They do not involve complex machinery or costly interventions, but rather a return to a more fundamental, harmonious engagement with ourselves and the world around us. These are not fleeting tricks, but enduring principles, and I urge you to remain present through this exploration, for the culmination of these practices, particularly the insights woven into the final habit we shall discuss, has been a quiet yet potent force, a subtle key that has unlocked renewed vision for many who have walked the path of life beyond their 50th year, often without the need for surgical remedies, the ever-present reliance on corrective lenses, or the regimen of prescribed pills. This is about reclaiming what is naturally yours. Our modern lives, for all their conveniences and technological marvels, have in many ways led us into a profound estrangement from the very source of our being, the natural world. We dwell within enclosed spaces, our days and nights often illuminated by the cool, artificial shimmer of screens and manufactured light, our eyes seldom greeting the unfiltered radiance of the sun or the vast expanse of a natural horizon. Many of us have been conditioned, perhaps subtly, perhaps overtly, to view the sun with suspicion, to shield our eyes almost instinctively from its rays, more conscious of its potential for harm than its capacity for profound nourishment. Yet the human organism, developed over eons under the open sky, is intrinsically attuned to the rhythms of natural light. Our ancestors lived by the sun's passage. Its daily journey across the heavens was their clock, their compass, the very pulse of their existence. This deep instinctual connection is not so easily erased. It remains a dormant wisdom within ourselves, awaiting reawakening. Consider then the profound simplicity of a daily sunlight ritual. This is not an invitation to engage in the foolhardy act of staring directly into the sun's brilliant orb, for such intensity can indeed bring injury. Rather, it is an invitation to a conscious, gentle immersion in the ambient light of the early morning, particularly within the first hour after you awaken. There is a unique alchemy to the light of dawn and the nascent day. Its spectrum is rich, imbued with frequencies that speak directly to ancient photoreceptor cells nestled deep within the retina of your eye. These photoreceptors are not merely passive receivers, they are active participants in a grand biological symphony. When touched by this specific quality of morning light, they send powerful signals along the optic nerve, signals that do far more than simply register brightness. This early light serves as the master conductor for your body's internal clock. the intricate circadian rhythm that governs the ebb and flow of countless physiological processes, from the restorative depths of your sleep to the timely release of hormones that influence your energy, your mood, and even your metabolic health. 10, perhaps 15 minutes of this direct natural light, received without the filtering barrier of sunglasses or even window glass if possible, can act as a profound reset. It is an announcement to your entire being that a new day has begun, aligning your internal world with the external reality of the sun's ascent. Scientific studies have begun to illuminate what ancient wisdom has long understood. This practice can improve contrast sensitivity, allowing you to discern subtle differences in light and shadow with greater acuity, and it enhances the function of the very muscles that govern your eye movements and focusing abilities. Imagine stepping out into the cool, fresh air of the nascent morning. The world is quiet, washed in the soft, clear light that precedes the sun's full strength. As you walk, perhaps in a garden, a park, or even along a quiet street, you consciously allow your eyes to engage with the environment. You look towards the gentle illumination of the sky, not directly at the sun itself if it has risen above the horizon, but at the brightness that fills the atmosphere. You observe the way this light touches the leaves of trees, revealing their intricate textures and myriad shades of green. You allow your gaze to soften and expand, taking in the natural spectrum that is so often absent from our indoor environments. This is not a task to be rushed, but a moment of sensory communion. In these moments, light ceases to be merely a utility for vision. It becomes a form of nourishment, as vital to the eyes as wholesome food is to the body. It awakens dormant capacities, tunes the delicate instruments of your sight, and reminds your eyes of their inherent connection to the vibrant, luminous world. This gentle, consistent exposure is an act of profound respect for the intricate design of your visual system, a way of feeding the light within so that you may, in turn, see the world, and perhaps even yourself, with renewed clarity and depth. Blink training. In the ceaseless flow of our daily lives, amidst the multitude of tasks that command our attention, and the digital streams that so often captivate our gaze, there exists an action so fundamental, so automatic, that its profound importance to the well-being of our eyes often goes unheeded. We are speaking of the simple act of blinking. Nature, in its boundless wisdom, has endowed us with this reflex, a delicate sweep of the eyelids that occurs, on average, upwards of 15,000 times each day. Each blink is a miniature balm, a moment of renewal for the precious surface of the eye. Yet for many, the way we blink has become compromised, shallow, incomplete, and far less frequent than our eyes truly require, especially when we are immersed in the focused stillness demanded by screens or prolonged periods of concentration. This departure from our natural blinking pattern is not without consequence. It is a subtle deprivation that can lead to a cascade of discomforts, from the irritating dryness that makes eyes feel gritty and sore, to a pervasive blurriness that clouds our vision, and, over time, to a chronic underlying strain that diminishes the joy of seeing. The surface of the eye, the cornea, is a living window, exquisitely sensitive and reliant on a constant film of moisture to maintain its clarity and health. This tear film, a complex, multi-layered liquid, is spread evenly across the cornea with each complete blink, cleansing it of debris, providing vital oxygen and nutrients, and creating a perfectly smooth optical surface essential for sharp focus. When our blinks become cursory or infrequent, a common unconscious adaptation when staring intently at a computer monitor, a phone, or even a book, this vital lubricating process is interrupted. Patches of dryness can form, leading to inflammation and that familiar sensation of burning or stinging. Vision can become intermittently blurry as the tear film loses its integrity, much like looking through a window pane smudged or beaded with uneven moisture. Over the long term, this chronic dryness and the attendant strain can contribute to a more persistent degradation of visual quality and comfort. There is, however, a path to reclaiming the restorative power of this innate reflex, a practice of blink training that is both ancient in its roots and profoundly relevant to our modern challenges. It is a technique of conscious re-education, a way of reminding the body of its own inherent wisdom. This practice, often found in the stillness training of contemplative traditions, such as those observed by monks who spend long hours in seated meditation, is not merely about the mechanics of eyelid movement. It is about reconnecting the mind, the breath, and the body in a holistic act of self-care. I invite you to try this simple, yet deeply effective exercise. At regular intervals throughout your day, perhaps every 30 minutes or whenever you notice the first whispers of eye fatigue, gently allow your eyes to close. Let them rest completely for about 10 seconds. During this brief pause, turn your attention to your breath. Take a few slow, deep inhalations and exhalations, allowing the rhythm of your breathing to calm your nervous system, to release any tension you might be holding in your shoulders, your neck, your jaw, and especially around the delicate muscles that cradle your eyes. This moment of quiet darkness and conscious breathing is a sanctuary, a brief retreat from the constant stimulation of the visual world. Then, as you prepare to open your eyes, do so with intention. Instead of a quick, habitual flick, perform 10 full, slow, deliberate blinks. Imagine your eyelids meeting gently but completely, like the soft wings of a butterfly, then opening wide, allowing the light to re-enter softly. Feel the sensation of the eyelid gliding smoothly over the eyeball, a conscious relubrication. This intentional action does more than just moisten the cornea. It gently massages the meibomian glands located in the eyelids, which produce the oily layer of the tear film that prevents rapid evaporation. It also engages and strengthens the ciliary muscles, those tiny hard-working muscles within the eye responsible for changing the shape of the lens to focus on objects at different distances. Furthermore, these full blinks help to improve eye coordination, ensuring that both eyes are working together harmoniously. This practice, seemingly so modest, is a profound act of realignment. It shifts your focus not only outward towards the world you perceive, but also inward towards a deeper awareness of your own body and its needs. For the monks engaged in stillness, such practices were essential for maintaining clarity of perception, both physical and mental, during extended periods of intense observation. For us, in our often frenetic lives, this training offers a pathway back to a more natural, effortless way of seeing, reducing strain, enhancing comfort, and preserving the precious health of our eyes. It is a reminder that even in the smallest of our bodily functions lies an opportunity for mindful presence and profound self-nourishment, transforming an unconscious reflex into a conscious act of visual and spiritual renewal. The 2020 rule upgrade. In the ongoing dialogue about preserving eye health amidst the demands of our screen-centric world, a guideline known as the 2020 rule has gained considerable traction, and for good reason. It offers a simple, memorable strategy for mitigating the focused, near-point stress that so often leads to visual fatigue. The principle is straightforward. For every 20 minutes spent concentrating on a close-up task, such as reading on a screen or working with detailed materials, one should consciously shift their gaze to an object at least 20 feet away and hold that distant focus for a minimum of 20 seconds. This practice provides a valuable, albeit brief, respite for the accommodative system of the eyes, allowing the ciliary muscles, which contract for near vision, to relax as they adjust for distance. It is a commendable first step, a conscious interruption of prolonged near work. However, to unlock a deeper level of restoration, to more comprehensively address the needs of our intricate visual apparatus, we can enhance this foundational rule, transforming it into a more dynamic and profoundly beneficial practice, an upgrade, if you will. The standard 20-20-20 rule primarily addresses the focusing muscles within the eye, but our eyes are also cradled and controlled by a sophisticated network of 6 extraocular muscles for each eye. These muscles are responsible for every minute movement, every dart and scan, allowing us to track objects, shift our gaze, and maintain stable, coordinated binocular vision. Like any other muscles in the body, from the powerful quadriceps that propel us forward to the delicate flexors in our fingers. These extraocular muscles thrive on movement, on being gently stretched and strengthened through their full range of motion. Yet, when we spend hours with our gaze relatively fixed, locked onto a screen directly in front of us, these muscles can become stiff, imbalanced, and fatigued, much like our shoulders might ache after being hunched over a desk for too long. This can lead to feelings of tension around the eyes, difficulty with smooth tracking, and even contribute to issues with eye alignment. Herein lies the upgrade. While you are engaged in your 20-second distant gaze, instead of merely holding a static focus, introduce gentle, deliberate movement. Slowly, mindfully, roll your eyes in all directions. Guide your gaze upwards, as if trying to see the point where the ceiling meets the wall above you, holding for a moment. Then, let your eyes drift downwards towards the floor. Next, move them slowly from side to side as far as comfortably possible, first to the right, then to the left. Finally, trace gentle diagonal lines with your gaze from the upper right to the lower left, and then from the upper left to the lower right. Perform these movements without straining, allowing the muscles to stretch and release. Imagine you are gently tracing the inner contours of a large sphere with your eyes. This practice of intentional eye rolling, performed slowly and with awareness, acts as a vital form of dynamic stretching and strengthening for these often neglected extraocular muscles. It helps to restore their flexibility, improve their coordination, and release accumulated tension. It is a direct acknowledgement of the principle that our vision, much like our physical prowess or our mental acuity, is not a fixed commodity, but a faculty that can be trained, nurtured, and improved through conscious effort. Just as an athlete incorporates specific drills to maintain the suppleness and strength of their musculoskeletal system, we too can engage in these simple exercises to support the agility and endurance of our visual system. The eyes, like any other part of our being, respond positively to the trinity of care, appropriate motion to maintain flexibility and strength, periods of genuine rest to allow for recovery and rejuvenation, and the practice of proper varied focus to keep their adaptive mechanisms keen and responsive. To further enhance the restorative power of this upgraded rule, I encourage you to pair these eye movements with a moment of deep, diaphragmatic breathing. As you allow your gaze to rest on the distant object and gently move your eyes, consciously deepen your breath. Feel the abdomen rise and fall. This not only calms the nervous system, but also increases oxygen flow throughout the body, including to the delicate tissues of the eyes. And crucially, during this extended moment, perhaps aim for a full minute rather than just 20 seconds if time permits. Completely disengage from all screens. Turn away from your computer, put down your phone. Allow your eyes this brief sanctuary from the insistent demands of digital displays. The cumulative effect of this upgraded practice, diligently applied, can be remarkably transformative. Many who incorporate these gentle movements and conscious breathing into their regular breaks report a noticeable diminishment in eye tension within days. Headaches that were once a frequent companion to prolonged screen time may recede. The world may begin to appear with greater clarity, the edges of objects sharper, colors more vibrant. This is not a miracle, but the natural consequence of providing your eyes with the specific care they require. It is a testament to the body's remarkable capacity for healing and adaptation when given the right conditions. Conditions that include mindful movement, periods of genuine rest, and a conscious intention to nurture rather than merely use the precious gift of sight. Final insight. The faculty of vision, that extraordinary gateway through which we perceive the beauty and complexity of the world, is far more than a mere mechanical process confined to the anatomical structures of our eyes. It is, in its deepest sense, a reflection of how we engage with life itself. Your vision is not solely determined by the acuity of your lenses or the health of your retinas. It is profoundly intertwined with the quality of your attention, the direction of your focus, and, equally importantly, the aspects of your experience that you consciously or unconsciously choose to ignore. In a world that bombards us with a ceaseless torrent of stimuli, a cacophony of distractions vying for our precious awareness, the ability to see clearly, not just with the physical eyes, but with the inner eye of understanding and discernment, becomes one of the most powerful capacities we can cultivate. To see clearly in this deeper sense is to cultivate presence. It is to resist the fragmentation of attention that modern life so often demands, and instead to bring a focused, engaged awareness to the here and now. When we train our physical vision through practices such as the conscious engagement with natural light, the mindful rhythm of blinking, or the deliberate movement of our ocular muscles, we are, in a subtle yet profound way, also training our capacity for mental and spiritual clarity. The discipline required to care for our eyes translates into a broader discipline of mind. As we learn to truly look at the world rather than merely glancing past it, we begin to perceive details, nuances, and connections that were previously hidden from our view. Consider where you habitually direct your focus. Is it consumed by the fleeting urgencies of the digital realm, or do you consciously allocate time to rest your gaze upon the enduring beauty of the natural world, the expressive face of a loved one, or the subtle interplay of light and shadow in your own surroundings? What we choose to focus upon shapes our reality, and what we choose to ignore, often out of habit or a sense of overwhelm, can leave significant parts of our inner and outer landscape unexplored, unseen. The journey to reclaim and strengthen your vision is, therefore, also a journey toward reclaiming your attention, toward making conscious choices about where you invest this most precious resource. You do not have to passively surrender your sight to the indiscriminate passage of time, nor accept its diminishment as an inevitable fate. This is a narrative of disempowerment, one that we have the capacity to rewrite. The power to strengthen your vision, to potentially reclaim a measure of the clarity you may have lost, resides within you. It is not found in yet another prescription, another corrective lens that merely compensates for an underlying issue, but in the consistent mindful application of principles that honor the body's innate intelligence, the life-giving presence of natural light, the restorative rhythm of natural movement, the profound peace of intentional rest, and the unwavering clarity of focused intention. These are not quick fixes, but rather elements of a sustainable practice, a way of living that acknowledges the sacredness of your senses and the profound connection between your physical well-being and your inner state. Each time you step into the morning light, each time you practice a full, conscious blink, each time you gently stretch the muscles that guide your gaze, you are making a declaration. You are affirming your commitment to seeing, not just with your eyes, but with your whole being. Because the future you see, the richness of the world that will unfold before you, the depth of understanding you will bring to your experiences, all of this depends in no small measure on how you choose to train, nurture, and honor your vision today. Let this be a path of conscious cultivation, a journey toward clarity that illuminates not only the world around you, but also the landscape within. For in seeing clearly, we connect more deeply with truth, with beauty, and with the enduring strength that resides at the core of our being.